So the championship ends with Verstappen finishing with the most poles and most wins of the season, meaning that Norris won the title in the second fastest car. Welcome to the Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast.
Welcome to the Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast. Now here's a bald guy and some Indian.
How are you, man?
Congratulations. The blatantly biased Lando podcast or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what this podcast is apparently.
I should be blatantly. Realistically, it should be blatantly Lando biased. But anyway,
Yeah.
I
mean, we're talking logic when it comes to Formula 1, huh? When did we descend towards that stupidity?
Yeah.
Lando Norris is the world champion. We live in a world where Lando Norris is the world champion.
I know. Well, until they get disqualified for plankware 4 hours from now.
Yeah, waiting for that.
Yeah.
Imagine if that happens, by the way.
Yeah, especially because everyone was like, well, you can't take this away from him now. And I'm like, yeah, they can.
Yeah. So should we start with the most controversial thing then?
I guess so. Yeah. Should we congratulate Lando for 14 minutes first, or just jump straight into the controversy?
I mean, people would switch off the podcast if we talked about Lando for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, then let's do that. So,
well, let's at least give it 3 minutes of just, to be fair, incredible job by Lando, and also obviously we'll talk about how incredible the other two championship rivals were over the season in different parts. But incredible job from Lando, especially because this is the exact race where I went, he and McLaren are going to bottle this somehow. And it seems like since Zandvoort, it seems like since Zandvoort that Lando is gone. So I'd like to thank Vettel for giving Lando Norris a world championship.
Apparently, he was the one who was consistently in contact with him, right?
Yeah. It turns out Vettel really fucking hates Mark Webber. So
Aussies, he hates Aussies.
Yeah, he just hates Aussies. I suppose because he got Daniel Ricciardo and Mark Webber. So yeah, that's true.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, the most important thing is, even if I look at his second half of the season, again, I never say that he's the standout driver of the season. I think it was still Max.
Yeah.
But
although Max had the fastest car, as I said in the intro.
Of course, right. But even if that is the case, what stands out for Lando is, and look, for every driver you try to look at this thing, it's the growth curve. Mm-hmm. And since last season, there are a few things that we tend to talk about when it comes to Lando. It's the starts are not there. He tends to freeze when things are not going his way. He didn't do much of that this time around.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that started I think for the most part after Zandvoort, we thought that, okay, the pressure is not there. So maybe that's why he's not making errors, and that's why things are just falling in place. But even when the pressure was there, it's not like Max closing the gap in Vegas and Qatar was not down to Lando in any which way. It was down to McLaren.
Yeah.
They fucked things 100%. Up in both the races, and ideally the championship would have been over a few races back.
After the disqualification in Las Vegas and after the fuck up in Qatar, it'd be very easy for the old Lando to be there of just he's under pressure in this race, makes mistakes, this is this was the Lando that kind of I expected us to get after last season, because I thought after the first few wins, I thought okay, he'll take a break and come back after the summer break. Now as a race winner, the pressure's off, he can and it still wasn't there. And even this season at the start, there was still some mistakes and so on. But I think
we didn't pick him to win. Mid-season, we did our preview for the second half, right? And neither of us picked him to win.
That was at the time when Max and Red Bull was basically, we were counting them out by that point, so it was Piastri was going to win.
I mean, at least I picked Leclerc to finish third in the championship. You picked George. At the time, that's how bad the situation was. Yeah. And I think that's what makes the 2025 F1 season very, very fun in some ways. Again, the on-track action, it didn't really live up to what you should expect. But even regardless, there are things that we didn't expect that happened. We had Hülkenberg on podium, we had Williams on podium, we had Racing Bulls on podium. You don't really see that often. Yeah. And on the other hand, the championship just turning on a dime. There's nothing, we couldn't really once Zandvoort happened, I think a lot of people would have just stamped Oscar Piastri championship, and I think 9 out of 10 times he would have won. But the way things turned, it's a unique season. In a way, again, 2025 does not stand the test of times when it comes to being compared to a 2021 or 2013 or 2012 because the quality was better in those seasons.
Yeah.
What it stands for is the twists. There were far too many here. We didn't have those in those seasons. I mean, we were fortunate we had those seasons because the battle going into the last race was something, again, it kept people on the edge of the seat. Here it was an entirely different thing. But I mean, us getting a title battle, I tend to be more than happy when if we get that, because we don't get that often.
Yeah.
So I'm more than happy when we get that. So that's why there's certain level of, you can say, a word Lewis uses a lot, gratitude, that fine. At least we got a championship battle this time around.
And to be fair, look, Lando's been fighting to get this for a long time. And, regardless of what you think of him, like he stuck around with McLaren at points when he could have given up. I mean, he was offered a seat at Red Bull when Red Bull had the fastest car, he could have gone there.
2023. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, he stuck with McLaren, stayed through it, dealt with a lot of McLaren being shit this year as well. I mean, like at the end of the day, I worked it out yesterday. McLaren lost, I think, for Lando 47 points, I think it was.
In the second half alone?
Well, over the course of the season in total, but mainly in the second half. And he lost 28 points himself. So, like, I think he's more deserving of the championship than people will give him credit for ever.
Yeah. It's look, I'm not going to change anyone's opinion, and that's something at some point you have to understand and just let it be. You have to appreciate what you get. And again, I keep harping on it. I don't think he's the best driver in F1, and I think if given equal cars, Max blast him out of the water.
To quote Alonso, that's been the case for the last 19 seasons.
19 years.
19 years, yeah.
Again, shout out to Alonso. Brilliant drive. He finished P6 ahead of Lewis and Ocon and others. And just a brilliant
if only
drive.
Lewis had qualified better, it would have been different, though.
Yeah. One thing, by the way, let's talk about the controversial bit, because soon as that happened,
Tsunoda's bad Checo impression.
Yeah, poor impression, by the way. That was. I can understand why Yuki didn't really go full Checo on Lando.
Even Checo commented on it, I think, on Twitter.
Checo's reaction was for perhaps, right? That's what he said. And it was basically for...
Yeah. That's what it was for.
Maybe we treated you too harshly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's understandable. But again, Checo got quite a few years at the team, and he got his opportunity to run at the front. And a lot of drivers don't.
Won a few
Hulkenberg
races.
didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So
but yeah, Yuki...
And,
you want me to talk about what I think of the incident? And so, first of all, like, honestly, again, just to annoy Sai, I'm going to say what brilliant racing by Lando. Chopped past those two drivers, Lawson and Stroll, was it, very quickly?
Twice.
Took over and lunged, did the signature Max Verstappen lunge on Antonelli. And then, look, I thought that would have been a very harsh penalty if he had gotten it anyway, because, like, the thing was, I got why people were like, under the rules, like, you could give him a penalty for it. Immediately, I was kind of, this could be a penalty. But the mitigating factor was Yuki was basically swerving back and forth, like, flinging it back and forth across the track. And there was a couple of points where he was doing that, I noticed, but, basically swerving across. And you're only allowed to move once when defending, and he moved at least twice. And
the problem was he did on the straights. You can just make one move. You can try to break the toe once, but that's it. So what Yuki did was, and again, And looking at it again, I've looked at it twice. For me, it seemed that it was more of an evasive action that Lando took. That's why he went off.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Yeah, he basically, if you look at when he actually pulls up alongside him, he has the car inside the lines on one side, and then Yuki kind of swerves a little bit, and Lando goes like this, and then immediately comes back on. And actually, if you were looking at it properly and like you go through the entire thing in slow motion, you can see that he actually completed the move on the track. He just went off the track for like a split second as Yuki turned in and then came back on. And in the steward's document, it actually said specifically that yes, Lando had to go off the track while overtaking. However, it specifically says to avoid a collision with car 22. So even they stipulated that they were like, look, the issue here is that basically he was forced off track. The other thing is as well, I'm pretty sure they were at a crossroads where what kind of screwed them was this wasn't like a normal overtaking point, if you want. It's like a DRS area. So they couldn't use the apex rules. So it has to fall under just a normal kind of racing incident and who's predominantly at fault, which I think thankfully for Norris gave them a little bit more breathing room. Because if he did that and wasn't positioned right at the apex, if they had done that into a corner, regardless of whether he was evading a maneuver, he would have gotten a penalty because of just the way those rules work. But thankfully, because there's no apex there, you don't have to judge them, and you can take it as, okay, was he avoiding a collision? Which, look, I think he was avoiding a collision, and I think anyone who thinks otherwise, like, he went in, he was on track, and Yuki moved, and he had to avoid it. And I think it would have been, while I could see how they could do it under the rules, I think it would have been massively unfair to penalise him for that. And frankly, looking back now on the race, I don't think it really would have mattered. I think he would have still finished where he finished because of the way the race
problem is it also
blended.
was a little too orchestrated. That's where the problem came, because they made it clear that Yuki was going to do something a bit different. He was going to be very aggressive when it came to his defense. And once you do that, you almost give an indication to the stewards that, okay, this is an extraordinary circumstance. This is not an ordinary case. Then there was the scenario. I was just happy. Look, because I knew where this was going, and it was going in the direction.
You were just happy Derek Warwick was in the office, right?
Oh no,
and not Johnny Herbert.
Johnny Herbert.
Because if it was Johnny Herbert, all Twitter would be today is Johnny Herbert.
Not
Johnny
even
Herbert.
that. Imagine if Lando finishes the race just fending off Leclerc. Even then, the whole debate would have been, okay, the championship has been gifted and all the nonsense. And 5 years down the line, we would be even talking about the same nonsense.
Yeah. Whereas because he finished 8 seconds ahead or something, 9 seconds ahead, you don't really.
Yeah.
To be honest as well, the last thing I'll say on that too is like, even if they had given the penalty and if he had say, I think he would have easily stayed ahead of Russell. Even if Leclerc had jumped him.
6.5 seconds ahead of Leclerc when Leclerc pitted, and when he came out, he had a decent gap. So
I think he would have finished where he was anyway. Yeah. But even if he hadn't, I guarantee you on that very last lap, they would have literally just told Oscar to slam the brakes on. So he would have finished there anyway.
Yeah.
Like Oscar could just drop right back behind Leclerc and then let Norris overtake him and championship.
Yeah, but you don't trust McLaren with any of these.
No, I don't. I'm just saying I don't think, even because they would have given it a 5-second penalty, not a 10-second for mitigating circumstances, regardless.
Ideally, yes. It was going to be a 5-second penalty.
Yeah. There's no way it was going to be a 10-second.
Yeah.
So
it was basically a penalty of going off track and gaining advantage, something on those lines.
Yeah,
when
and their rule was he didn't actually really gain an advantage. He was going to overtake anyway. He was just avoiding a collision. So,
and it was the way
100%.
The way Yuki went about it. And again, look, a lot of people will have different opinions, and a lot of I'm already seeing
anyone who doesn't like Norris will essentially tell you it should have been a penalty, and anyone who does like Norris will tell you it shouldn't have been a penalty.
It shouldn't be.
No one's going to actually read the documents and stuff. And even people I've seen,
they read it.
They left out details.
Yeah,
I had to correct the 3 people who literally quoted like he went off track, while overtaking. And they just quoted that, and literally the next 3 words are to avoid collision.
Car 22, yeah.
So you're like, guys, you can't just pick and choose like the facts that you can. and you will.
You can, yeah, they will.
Yeah.
That's what annoys me. Again, good faith discourse is pretty much dead when it comes to Formula One. So now let's talk about one thing, because this is something that actually pissed me off. The entire race, the way it was going, I think it was still fine. What pissed me off was when Oscar came to pit. Max didn't come back. On the very next lap, I was shocked that a driver that drives for Red Bull, he didn't come into the pits on the very next lap to basically get on the fresh tires, same ones as Oscar, and then use those tires to start holding everyone up.
Yeah. And even Oscar asked him in the cool-down room. He didn't want to back everyone up. Yeah. Like, they were genuinely surprised he didn't do that.
I'm surprised. And I think and I think there are two reasons for it. First is, I think maybe I think Max was just happy to be there, happy to be in those positions. It seems that he wasn't as invested in the championship as probably others were.
Yeah.
And for a while I've had that perception that, okay, maybe that is the case, but it's also because McLaren and Lando were just gifting him points. The gap that was shrinking was not because Max was doing something extraordinary, he wasn't jumping anything. He was making sure he got the most points from the car that he has, and McLaren was just falling over itself and basically handing him points head over heels. Once you do that, it seems that Max at no point was in any kind of a headspace that Lewis was in 2016, where he wanted to beat Rosberg. Max wasn't in that kind of a headspace, and probably he didn't want to do anything of that sort.
Yeah.
And problem is, he has a compliant team principal in Lauren Mekies. If there was Christian Horner in that place, I can guarantee you he would make sure he would move heaven and earth to make sure he'd make sure two things. First, he'll make sure that Lando gets a penalty. I'm pretty sure of that.
Oh, he would have been on the radio crying out.
Exactly. And secondly, he would have made sure that even before the race, that would have been a discussion before the race, that, mate, championships don't come often. You had 4, great, but you also spent 7 years not having anything.
Yeah.
You
could spend another 7 years now waiting.
Yeah.
If
so
ever,
when you are
exactly,
and when you're being put in a position where you can win a championship, do not leave anything on the table.
I genuinely, like this, I've said this a few times, this is a strange Red Bull, because I think if they had said to Max, like if anyone had just said to Max, look, we're going to come in for a pit and then you need you to back them up. Like, we're not winning this race without causing something. So we're going to need you to really back them up now and put Norris under pressure from Leclerc. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win, but you're going to put them in a position where they're going to have to start swapping. Well, basically, they're going to have to start swapping positions. The other drivers are behind. It just takes one fuck up and you've got, that's it. So it's like the tape thing. And like in Brazil for me, where like in Brazil, everyone's like, yeah, but his tires were dropping off. It's like, okay, but you knew if you were pitting, you weren't going to win the race anyway, or it's very unlikely you're going to win the race. So you hold on to track position. If Horner was there would have been a call, Max, we can try hold track position. Do you think you can get the tires to the end? Do you want to chance it or finish P2? Max would have said, let's go for the win and try it. With the tape thing, Horner would have said, oh, keep pulling it off. Fuck him. That's...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just these little things where it's just... It doesn't feel like Red Bull anymore. It just doesn't.
It's not the Red Bull DNA, isn't it?
No, it's not.
This was again, Max could initially be in the mindset of being very laid back when it comes to this championship, because look, he was checked out basically midway part of the season. Once he had his motto for every race is, I'm going to make the most of whatever I can with the car that I have. And he kept doing that, and it brought him to a position where he was, I think 15 or 12 points. He was 12 points behind the championship leader.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah. If you've reached that point, he didn't really activate the killer Max that tends to exist. The killer instinct that was probably there in the last 4 years. Maybe for some reason it wasn't this time around. And he just... I don't know. The ruthlessness was not there, and there hasn't been any fighting talk. There hasn't been anyone which is any person, be it Helmut Marko, or even Jos is out rallying. He's doing his own thing, And there's no one that is putting the pressure on McLaren, Zach Brown, or the two drivers one way or the other. No one has basically turned the volume up so that everything becomes intense. Because Red Bull knows that in those situations, Red Bull works best while the other teams stumble. And
it's odd. Like, and
it
honestly,
was very disappointing.
I think it's going to be a bigger issue in 2026 because they'll be very lucky if they show up next year with a good car. Like, if they do, then they're lucky that basically Vache and some input from Newey and like the setup that Horner put in place for the engine and everything has actually paid off, you know? But like the problem is if they don't show up with the best car, a Horner would have been there looking for every little detail to go and go, right, we can get it here, let's get some points, let's keep that winning attitude and we'll fix the car and engine slowly. I can see this Red Bull without that ruthlessness falling apart very quickly because it'll have this laid back attitude is fine when you're winning championships. But if they come in there next year, you know what's going to happen. Mecchia is going to be like, oh, well, you know, it's not our season and next season hopefully we'll have a better car. And the Red Bull board's going to start going, we can't wait that long. Like, what are you talking about? You know,
and Max won't.
Yeah, and that'll be the first point of contention. Max decides to leave, and boom, the whole team will start falling apart. And I think if they have a good car at the start of next season, I think it's only going to delay the inevitable because this doesn't feel like a championship.
Things are starting to fall apart, isn't it? And again, we are at the precipice of it. We are not really at a point where everything is visible. But again, I mean, a lot of our viewers, they would probably not agree with this. But guys, it comes down to one very simple thing. And the best example for it is Alpine. 2022, they finished 4th in the championship. They finished 10th this time around. Within 4 years, everything has gone to shit. And you know why? Because in 2023, the team stumbled a bit. They went from fourth fastest to 5th fastest. And as soon as that happened, the board panicked. They fired Otmar Zafnar. Then Bruno Famin took over, who was not a capable leader. And then everything just fell from that point onwards. Yeah. This is what happens when, first of all, when board intervenes. And secondly, when you don't think things through. It's a bit, we are right at the beginning of that for Red Bull. And they have to be very careful when it comes to finding how they're going to fix it. Apparently, Helmut Marko also, in his interview, he didn't commit on sticking around in Red Bull for 2026. He was asked, will you be here next season? And he didn't really say anything. So, yeah.
I just, look, I think Mekies is a good leader, but unfortunately, he's also incredibly tied to the board. And I think this, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like Red Bull. And I feel like this is the type of thing where, you know, like Mercedes got this complacency, I think, for a while. And like, look at how far they've fallen. I know they finished second in this championship, but look how like they haven't been able to kind of get back to where they were at all. And it's because they fell into that complacency, I think, of like, oh, you know, we're not as ruthless. We're not jumping for this. We're not pushing for this because we have the best car. We're fine. We'll keep going. And the problem is like, the real test is when you don't have that best car, when things aren't going well. And that's where I think, you know, I just think the people who wrote off Horner immediately were crazy. Like, they just came off winning a championship. And even from 2014 to 2020, when they had so many engine problems, when Newey was about to leave, when they never had the fastest car, they were still winning races. They were still pushing. And that kind of relentless, like, okay, fuck the engine manufacturer, let's get a new one, you know, let's get this guy in, let's get this driver in, let's pay this, I don't care. Every single like stone was turned to win. That was the Red Bull DNA. Like, you know, everyone's against us, we need to beat everyone by just keeping at
the underdog mentality, right?
Yes. And this Red Bull feels a lot more like Mercedes, who it'll come down to, do they have the, and like, unlike Mercedes, they're probably not going to have the best engine, but Mercedes kind of have that attitude of, it's fine, it'll come back to us. And it's like, no, it won't come back to you. You need to fucking grab it. And like, you know, I don't know. I feel like this Red Bull I would be very surprised in 3 years' time if Red Bull is still a top team, even with the budget and staff and everything they have. I can just see this complacency will turn into, we weren't delivered here, so we replaced the team principal. Oh, this new team principal is not working out. And slowly, and you see with Ferrari, as you start swapping team principals, everything else starts kind of falling apart behind it as well. And obviously, this is a much different discussion. We should be discussing the championship. But yeah, I think, like, to bring it back to the championship, Max did everything he needed to. And I am with you that I'm surprised that Red Bull didn't push him to do that last bit. And
but why was he also not pushing?
I don't know. That's a strange one.
I've been so surprised with the way things have gone because he came into the weekend. He was questioned. Okay, because Lando's family came and Oscar's family came. He was questioned. Has no one from your family come? He said no. After Zandvoort, everyone made their own plans. And plans
it's kind of like they gave up on the championship and kind of like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
which is just it's an
when
odd.
Again, it's fine. You can switch off, but you can switch on again, right? When you're,
it's just, but it is an odd thing, isn't it, for Red Bull and Max? Like, for Red Bull, I can kind of see why. It's a complete culture change at Red Bull. But you're right. Like, it's like Max has also fallen into that new culture of like,
which is so weird because he should,
unless they know they'll have the best engine next year or something. Maybe they've.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I know. Yeah.
How can he do? Look, for me, everything else is fine. Would Fernando Alonso have not backed up everyone?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton
and Max,
did that. Lewis Hamilton did that with his own teammate, by the way.
Yeah, and Max was asked afterwards and kind of made the kind of elusive like, well, it's a different layout from before. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, Checo held up Lewis Hamilton 8 seconds in 2 laps. Yeah. And like, are you telling me that Norris and Piastri, like, you couldn't do that to them? Like, you definitely could. Like, you know, and they would.
You're Max Verstappen. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, the only thing is, I think the only thing that goes against them doing it, like, I'm surprised they didn't do it. The only reason I could think it would be a poor decision or could backfire is just that the guy who's directly behind you that you're trying to back up into Norris is Piastri, and he's the one guy.
What?
No, I'm just saying he's the one guy who has.
If you don't, I know what you mean.
If you don't do it, you're not winning anyway. So I don't see why
all the 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
Right?
So they should have done it. They should have done it. However, I'm just saying I think there is a chance it could have backfired because Oscar would have just gone, oh, fuck this then, and dived. Because if Oscar crashes out, he's still in the same position as if he finishes second. You know, so. But it would have been more entertaining for us. Well, it's just surprising. Yeah.
I'm probably a lot more critical of it than I think almost anyone in the entire F1 space.
I haven't seen anyone talking about it. Like, no one seems to care, and it just it is. It's
like, okay, yeah, fine. We closed the gap from whatever 150 to 148 points, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's right there.
As Jolyon Palmer said after the race. Someone, I think it was Montoya. No, it was Laura Winter said to him, "Do you think he'll be annoyed that he didn't get that second place in the championship?" And Jolyon Palmer says, "No one remembers who was second in the championship." And it's like, yeah, no one's gonna remember. Well, we like Verstappen fans will, but outside of that, no one's going to think, "Oh, do you remember that epic run of form from?" No one's going to go like, "Oh, do you remember that epic run of form from Verstappen in 25?" It's like, yeah, but he didn't win the championship, so it doesn't really matter. Like you could do same thing with Lando. Look at that, 35 points back, he had a 70-point swing nearly, and then lost it all thanks to McLaren's poor decisions. Like no one's going to be talking about Lando's 70-point swing. Essentially, they're going to be talking about the fact that he won the championship.
Yeah.
Like, you know, no one's going to talk about Oscar or anything. He lost the championship. It's just those 2 buckets. So, yeah, I agree. It's strange.
You know, the more I talk about it, the more shocked I get. Because look, as soon as the race ends, I have to get everything done when it comes to my other job. So I have not had a time to even sit and think things through. But the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like...
it is weird.
Tell me, who are your top 5 all-time greats?
Me, personally?
Yeah.
Schumacher, Senna, Max Verstappen. We did this list before, but probably like, especially out of the newer ones, Alonso and Max are there, obviously. Vettel, is up there. Probably not top 5 anymore, but Vettel's up there. You got Prost, all these amazing drivers. Yeah.
Tell me,
Damon Hill, obviously. Anyway, sorry.
Tell me any one of these guys who wouldn't have not backed.
Schumacher would have said, basically after the pit stops, when it was where it was, like after at the very latest after the second pit stop, if not before, Schumacher would have immediately said, right, we're winning this. Norris is in third. What can we do to win this? It's like, oh, well, we could try back him up, but we could throw the whole race away. Fucking just tell me where to go. That would have been the answer.
Yeah.
Senna would have said, okay, who can I crash into to win this race? Look,
Can
even
Yuki
Vettel.
crash?
Yeah, can Yuki crash? Alonso would have called up Flavio and said, listen, I know you don't manage Red Bull, but can you put something on the track in front of Yuki for me?
How much money
Vettel would have been back in these. Look, fucking, as you said, Lewis Hamilton would have.
He did.
He did. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
And we talk about the whole thing that, okay, Max is
And by the way,
ruthless.
for anyone listening, this is not to bash Max. It's to say this is really strange that Max
very
didn't do
weird.
this. Because this is the exact type of thing Max would normally do. If this was just a random race win weekend, like if this was just a random weekend at Abu Dhabi and he had won the championship and they said, right, you need to back someone up in order to win this race.
Yeah.
And it was just a race win, he would normally do it. So going for a championship and he doesn't I get
why
it's odd.
And again, I've gone through his post-race comments and they're very generic in the way he's talked about it. But
He got very annoyed about Barcelona. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Why
was
did
like,
you
oh,
bring
you're
that
just
up?
putting your funny
Why did you
smirk
bring
on
it up?
now.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yo, you just got your silly smirk on now. He was so annoyed. Which
We'll talk about it, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair at all for him to
Well,
get, because
no, I mean, I think it's fair for him.
Okay, let's talk
to
about
get
that
annoyed.
because I think this podcast is turning into shitting on Max, which I didn't intend at the start of it. Who's probably the best driver this season.
Well, you are a massive Lewis Hamilton fan, so this was bound
Apparently
to
I
happen.
am, right?
Yeah.
Cult. So there's a fan base. Verstappen fans claim that I'm cult-elish. The Lewis
LH
fans claim
fans
I'm closeted Max fan.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You're doing something right then if both of those are pissed
Exactly.
off. So you're fine.
Sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about it, because what's your take on the whole thing? Because I think the Barcelona 2025, sorry, that incident with George Russell, I think ultimately that cost him the championship. What's your take on, how do you view that?
I do think that you could say that one thing cost them the championship, but like there's also a lot of other things that cost them the championship overall. Like, I mean, not a lot. There's 4 or 5 incidents that cost them the championship. I think most of it, to be honest, is down to Red Bull more than that, because I think that basically they all, behind the scenes at Red Bull, ironically, everyone except Horner gave up on the championship after Spain and Silverstone, and then they kicked Horner out. But during that whole period, basically, as they swapped Mekis over and everything, they decided, we're out of the championship, let's just see what we can do at the season and then come back next year. And I think that whole block of time where they basically said, we're out of the championship, is what lost them the championship, because they weren't on it for those few races. And you've got Spain, you've got the spin at Silverstone, for example. You know, you've got a couple of races where I don't think Max was pushing as hard as he could have. You know, there's all of these little things. So I don't think it's just on Barcelona. However, what kicks Max for Barcelona is just that the reality is, you know, when it comes to his decisions, specifically his decisions, not anything to do with the team laxing, them not pushing, just when it comes to Max's decisions, that is the one thing you can pinpoint to where he made a key decision in error and has admitted that he saw red. You know, whether he meant to bash into, you know, whatever, but he's admitted he saw red, and that lost him 10 points that would have had him the championship now. So like, my point is, I could see why he is asked about it because it's the one pinpoint. And I think also, to give Max some credit too, it does speak to how good Max is that it is so difficult to find points that he's been.
Yeah.
Because, you know, with the other drivers, you could be like, well, here's a list of 25 times that you fucked up this season. With Max, it's like, let me look at these 4 and kind of see which one's your fault. The only other driver I can think of this season in that position is probably Russell. Like, everyone else has fucked up multiple times. So basically, my point is, yes, it's correct that I think that is the one key element that probably lost him the championship if you wanted to hone in on his decisions. But I can also see why he's annoyed because there's other factors as to why, like, a championship is lost as well. It's not just that. And yet he's asked about that all the time. But I do think he kind of brought on himself by admitting that he saw red. I think he should have kept that to himself, to be perfectly honest, because that's not a good look. You know, like, it's not.
So here's why I think it is why I think that is the moment he lost the championship. And the reason is that moment was not a driver error. It was not a case of he had a shitty car or he was overdriving it. It wasn't a case of some other driver rammed into the back of him. It was him losing his head when he didn't need to. He gifted those 10 points, whatever number of points. I don't remember how many he lost. But he gifted those points. And once you're gifting points, that's the problem. And again, it's not a case. Unforced errors are part of it. Lando having a collision, Lando pushing for in a qualifying lap and just making an error, understandable. Max also made those. Everyone makes them. That's fine. But when you're just being petulant and you just lose points because things are not going my way, that's the problem. And again, it's something I think he won't do in the future as well, because if he's coming out and admitting such a thing, I don't expect him to do it in the future.
Oh yeah, because if he does anything like that again, they'll give him the harshest penalty, because it'll be like, he's done
now
that in the
for
past.
Sure. Yeah, it would be a bit like Jerez 97.
To be fair, at the time, I was like, he got very lucky with that, like Mexico last year with that run-in. Those were two situations where it was so obvious he got pissed off and just decided, I'm taking this guy out. Like, you know, or I'm going to just smack into this guy, like, fuck it. You know, and it was two very obvious situations where I think he got off very lightly with points, you know.
Exactly. And that's...
Especially because we've seen that in the past, haven't we? Where Schumacher, 1997.
It is 97. Yeah. It's, again, you know, that's the whole thing for me. And again, he comes up and says that you keep talking about the one race. Yeah, because every other race, there's a reason for it. Or you pushing hard and making an error, that's understandable. But you just losing the plot and ramming into another car and then getting a penalty for something you didn't even need to, that's on you. That's entirely on you.
He could have finished at least fifth there and he would have had the championship.
Worst case scenario, fifth. Best case scenario, he would have been back to third. Because ultimately, in the last lap, after all that nonsense, he was right behind George. And it's on him. But again, you know, it's here. You look at a season as cumulatively, and again, he has his bright points. Most of them are. There were a few points where I think he would be, again, if he's honest and if he's ruthless, he would be the first one to admit that, okay, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Next season is going to be interesting for Max. For me, because I think right now the question is, and again, the entire thing, it comes down to one very simple thing. After the Vettel interview, and we were talking about it off before we started recording, there are a few things that come out, and one of the key things for me was, once Vettel was at Ferrari, he went to Ferrari after already achieving a fuck ton of things. Once you've done that, it becomes a bit, you're already fat, right? You're not hungry. And maybe the Vettel in Ferrari was not as hungry as he talked about how in early 2018 he didn't want to race even. Has Verstappen reached that point? Because when he talked about, okay, I already have 4 and 4 at home, I think that was the quote that everyone thought it was a bit of a nonchalant way of approaching that season finale. Maybe he was just being honest.
Well, I mean, when we did our top 10 before, I did make the point of saying this is fluid, like, you know, because at the end of 2013, I said that Vettel would have been up in my top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But it was what happened after that, where he kind of just, it fell away and he didn't deliver over time, that he fell down my list. And I, even as a Vettel fan, like, he's not my number one driver because of that reason. And like, this could very easily happen to Verstappen. Like, if he,
if he goes
off,
he's not interested, right? He'll leave.
Sure,
he
but
doesn't,
if he
doesn't
stays
need
around
to do
for
it.
another 8 seasons and doesn't win anything, like, that's going to be that will end up, just like with Hamilton now, affecting the viewpoint of how do you view that driver. Was it just, oh, you had the right car? Even though we kind of know it isn't with Verstappen because we've seen how good he is, there will always be that lingering question of, but was the car just built for him?
It's not even that.
That just starts to creep into to general
For me,
people.
it's not even the fact that the car was built for him or not. For me, it would be how long can you sustain it?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like Lewis,
I mean, in the more casual fan, by the way, that's the way things go. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it more objectively, yeah.
Yeah, because again, Lewis, he's in 18th or 19th season. Mm-hmm. He's still hungry. I mean, even though he's not performing at the level he used to, he's still very hungry when it comes to doing everything possible to win.
Yeah, but in fairness, he's only hungry because Ferrari are now stopping him from using the cafeteria because they're trying to claw back some of the money they spent on him.
Yeah, there were a lot of rumors when it comes to Lewis as well during the...
Maybe we'll talk about that before the podcast ends, but I've heard a couple of things since yesterday as well.
Yeah.
I've got a video coming out about it tonight. So
on that?
Yeah. Just because
people reach out for that.
I don't care.
Okay, yeah, but you don't have to worry about it.
I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, exactly.
You said this thing, and I'm like, I said this reportedly happened.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? Not give me interviews anymore? Like, fuck off.
You don't anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now moving on from... Again, we didn't want to bash Max. It turned into a bit of a Max bashing session.
I don't think
it's
we really
not
bash
even,
Max there. It's just...
Yeah, it's not even...
In fairness,
bashing
most
him.
of what we said was it was odd for Verstappen. Basically what we're saying is he's normally this ruthless driver who leaves nothing on the table.
Yeah.
And this, between this Barcelona thing and this, he's left stuff on the table, which is very un-Max,
The second, the way he conducted the last race was very weird for me.
Yeah, still very un-Max.
I think I was nailed on when it comes to that. I've continued to talk about how in 2017 Lewis did, and I was almost 100% sure that Max was going to do that. And when he didn't, I was very surprised.
I just thought at the end, I was expecting at the very end, when for him to just start dropping back into Piastri's window. I just thought that was going to happen, and because it was like, okay, can we win the championship? No, not where we are. All right, fuck it, slam on the brakes. Let's play this game. Yeah, I was surprised it didn't happen, but
Anyways, thoughts on Oscar's strategy? What did you make of it?
I feel bad for Oscar in a way. Like, I don't think there's really much more he could have done.
The race strategy per se.
Oh, the fact that he went on hards? I thought that was good from McLaren. I thought
it was
good
for
was
McLaren, but for
Oscar as well. Because look, at the end of the day, Oscar needed something big to happen in order to win. So if you look at it from a purely pragmatic point of view, obviously it's good for McLaren. It means that, Verstappen and Red Bull can't just play silly games with them because they've got the two cars there with different strategies. So yes, it's helpful for McLaren. But also, even if Oscar wins, he needed to be in a position to have a lot of options to try and figure out, like, okay, if Lando's in this position and I'm winning, like, how can I move this around? And I think the only way you get there is, okay, let's try and hang it out for as long as possible and hope for like a randomly play safety car where Norris is out or Norris spins and I can stay out for long enough to kind of make up for it. I think it was the only decision. Like, if they put him on any other tire, I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't think he was even like, if they had to put him on a soft, say, to just try and get track position at the start, which would have been insane, pointless. But like, even in that situation, I don't think he's beating Max, the way he did. So I think trying something different like that he probably agreed to it himself. He was probably like, look, I've got 16 points to make up. Let's just try something different and hope for the best. Like, he was probably hoping, and I think his interview afterwards, he was probably really hoping that with his strategy, Max would back them up. He could take a lunge on Max pass him and then kind of go, right, now, fuck you guys, I'm going to take off. And you have a Max and a Norris kind of falling over each other and hope something happens. So he was probably a little bit more annoyed than us, even that Max didn't back,
Yeah, but even Leclerc said that I thought Max was going to play a few games at the front, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Even I thought he would, but he didn't.
Yeah. It was very, the more we talk about it, the more bizarre it does seem that he didn't try something,
Apparently, why is it not bizarre for anyone else? It's something I do not get. I don't get the logic or the cope or whatever you want to call it of. Oh, he was 1,000 points behind. He reached 990. He basically ate up 998 points.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't make a difference.
No.
You had a championship on the table and you didn't.
He didn't try everything.
Exactly.
But
you had a trick in the book which you should have probably tried. But
fair play to Oscar as well, by the way. I mean, it's only his third season. I think people will forget that to an extent. Like the job he did this season, yes, he fucked up at points, but like third season, I think he's made a big step. And I think the only problem Oscar's going to have now is I think Lando is prodigiously talented, and it's been his mentality and pressure getting to him and so on that's caused him problems. I think next year now you're going to have a world champion Lando who can basically give less of a fuck. It's going to be a Lando that's like, I've already achieved the dream. It's kind of that 2021 to 2022 Verstappen where I said at the time when I saw 2022 Verstappen, I was like, this guy's going to be hard to beat because that pressure is gone now. And he knows he's the best. He can win, and Lando's going to come back with that attitude now of I have nothing left to prove and nothing left to lose. And I think the only problem Oscar's going to face now is that's a different Lando, because Lando's very, very quick. Lando,
both of them are going to face
care.
one major problem, which is George Russell.
Yeah.
And that is the bigger problem that they're going to face. And who knows how Kimi Antonelli evolves in a season and how he is next season. That's also going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But one thing when it comes to the whole scenario, where do you think Oscar lost it?
Baku, I guess you could put it down to a lot. He could have saved a lot of points there.
Yeah.
Because that was just an out-and-out utter throwaway weekend.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you could say, like, the thing is as well, it goes just as much for Oscar that, if we look at Qatar, that shit show of a strategy would have put him more in contention to where if he had just won the race, he would have been closer to the points. Like, he still would have been 2 points off, I think.
No. He gained... How many points did he gain?
Well, if he had won Qatar, which he could have if they had called the right strategy, he would have gained at least
second, right?
He would have gained at least 7 points over Lando.
Yeah.
Maybe more, depending on how. Because Lando would have had.
He was gaining.
Lando
10
would have had the
points
double
already.
stack. Don't forget. So so you're
that would have been.
I'm saying
worse.
at least 7 points, even if it had been perfectly executed.
Yeah.
Possibly 10, which would have meant that this weekend.
It basically cost him the championship, isn't it?
This weekend would have been just I'm going for the win, and I think an Oscar who just needed to win the championship perhaps would have been a more aggressive Oscar, and that would have been.
I mean, he was decently aggressive at the start.
He was, but I think maybe he would have been pushing for different strategies and so on.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I just mean if Oscar had have been like, I think he would have started on softs or mediums or played something to get track position and really fucking just doubled down for the win if he was within contention. If it just meant the win, So,
yeah, exactly.
It would have been a different Oscar, a different weekend anyway. But
how do you think the partnership evolves next season?
The thing is, I think Oscar is the type of driver. No, you're okay. Oscar is the type of driver who's like overly aggressive in terms of like when he puts his like helmet on, he fucking goes for it. Like even today we saw, like he's an amazing driver, and I think we still haven't seen the best of Oscar Piastri. And I think it's just going to be, I don't know how it's going to go next year because there's two things behind McLaren that we're going to have to watch for, which is this is an Oscar now who's going to, I'm sure, come back even better from everything he's learned. And he's going to be fucking frothing to get a championship. But he's also up against a Lando who now has, in my opinion, will have the worst of Lando wiped away because most of Lando's problems come down to him feeling like he has something to prove. And I feel like with that wiped away, like Lando in terms of just pure pace, and to be frank, racecraft is spectacular. Like we saw today, some of the moves he made. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, like, can
And the team
Oscar
will be
make a
on his
jump?
side as well.
That's the other thing. You're going to back the
He's
world
the world
champion more. Yeah. But it is only Oscar's third season. Like, and we saw what a step he made this season. What does he make next year? Plus, they're both on level
New
pegging with the
regulations.
car. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it means for Oscar, but I don't think this is the best we've seen of Oscar, and I would be very surprised if we don't see Oscar fighting for a title again in the near future, if not next season.
I think this
depending
marks
on McLaren.
this marks the beginning of the end of Oscar at McLaren.
Potentially, yeah. Unless next season they have the best car and he's able to really just push from the start. Like if he wins the
Unless he
championship
does
next
what
year,
Rosberg did in 2016, which
Yes,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
is very tough to do because it basically took Lewis taking a foot off the pedal. Unless he does that, I would be surprised if because Oscar, what's going to happen is Oscar is also going to look back at the season and see the various moments where he lost points in the championship and stuff happened. And there are areas where stuff didn't go his way when it comes to the papaya rules and everything. Just remember, Lando gained 3 points in
I saw
Monza.
some people posting like Monza made a difference, because of the 3 points.
3 points.
But my thinking on that was also, yeah, but not against Max. Like, because I know people
Yeah.
will say, oh, well,
No,
it's
no,
still a 3-point swing. But like, even if they were in that position, they would have just done a switcheroo today anyway. So it didn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's
true.
yeah.
True.
It's
That
neither
was
here nor
going
there.
to be
Yeah.
fair enough.
Because he
By
would have
the way-
been, he would have still been, like, Oscar would have still needed 13 points, which he wasn't getting between second and third place.
They would have
so it
switched
wouldn't-
today. Right?
Yeah, so it wouldn't have made a
It
difference.
wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah.
By the way, Oscar's championship campaign, you know what it made me appreciate, and I was just going through the few things in archives. I think it made me appreciate Kimi Raikkonen's 2003 campaign.
Yeah.
He lost the championship by 1 point. He
Against
was
Schumacher.
battling Michael
yeah.
Schumacher in a Ferrari, basically at the peak of their powers.
What you're saying is Norris is akin to a Schumacher, right? That's what you're trying to...
Maybe. At the same time, by the way, that was Kimi's third season as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he didn't come from basically years of car racing. It was just 1 year of car racing. 2001 was his first with Sauber, 2002 with McLaren, 2003 his second year with McLaren, and a championship battle.
You know who else
It
fought
makes
for a
you
title
think.
in his third season as well?
Who?
Vettel.
7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8, 9.
No, he
7
won
is,
the title
7
on
is
his
sixth
fourth.
race.
But he fought
He
for
won
a title on his third.
3.5 years, basically.
No, but he fought for a title on his third season.
2009.
7, 8, 9. Yeah. He still fought for the title.
Yeah.
So
He lost in the second last race, I think. Brazil. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe
That
so,
was the
if I
race
remember
when
correctly.
Jensen finally won. Yeah.
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 So,
Can say that. Yeah.
Vettel, the reason I bring it up is because Vettel said it as well in the interview.
He did.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like, he's like, oh, is this only his third season? He's like, yeah, I remember I was fighting for it in my third as well. And he kind of had
Yeah.
a moment,
He
yeah.
did. He did.
He kind of
Fair
said,
point.
oh. And I think he made a joke of something along the lines of like, be interesting to see how he comes back next year, or be interesting to see how he is next year, alluding to like,
Because-
look at how good Vettel was in 2010.
Yeah.
And obviously
talked
not
about
leading
it
the
as well.
championship till the end.
Yeah. So what happens with Red Bull now? What's your take? I mean, we won't go into too much detail of it.
Before we jump into that, can I just ask you a question? So you had a note here on something.
Yeah.
GP crying, and Max noted this as well.
We don't know
what's this
exactly what
about?
happened with him. But yeah, you saw it on. It was there on
No.
the live broadcast, right?
I didn't notice it. I stopped to I looked like as soon as they came over the line and stuff, I had to jump away for a second to do something, and then I
Yeah.
came back and I didn't notice it. And then all of a sudden later on in an interview or whatever, Max said, "Oh, he's had a lot going on" or whatever, and I was like, "Wait, what happened here?" And then I saw in your rundown for the episode GP crying, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, what happened here?"
Apparently
any
stuff's
more
going
info
on in
or-
the background at Red Bull as well. So I don't know. GP has something personal going on. Apparently, he's missed a few races as well, right?
Oh,
So
okay,
maybe there might be
there's
something going on, and who knows? The championship probably meant more to the race engineer than the driver, apparently here, which was a bit weird. But again, I don't know. For me, the biggest problem with 2025, the entire title battle, has been the lack of intensity. You don't feel, you haven't felt that throughout the season, the back and forth. Max tried a bit in Qatar, where he said that, okay, I would have won the championship by now, and stuff like that, but it's not really, you didn't really feel it on track or even off it. Everyone was quite casual even afterwards, when in the cool down room when they're sitting. It was a bit awkward because one had won the championship and the other two had lost, but it wasn't really, the animosity was not there. The sense of losing wasn't even there. Max was fine. Max was pretty chilled out. And there's even this clip of Kimi coming in apologizing to him, because if he hadn't fucked up in Qatar, where he basically let Lando through, those 2 points would have also made the difference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also Antonelli lost him the championship in Austria, so.
Yeah.
So basically, you could say that his 2027 teammate lost him a championship.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Don't send death threats, you absolute pricks. Weird people.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Weirdest. If you want to send death threats to anyone, send them to me. Like, put them in the comments. I don't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah, send him, not me.
Yeah. I remember the last time I've only gotten like 2 or 3 online death threats over stupid shit I've said online. Well, I had one of them before, and I just, you know how I like to wind people up. Some guy sent me one. In his profile picture, he was like a proper English, like I knew the type from like living in London or whatever, and I just replied to him with I'm not too worried, man. I said they don't pay enough on the dole for you to afford flights to Mexico. And he started like ranting back, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not even reading what the response is. But yeah,
no,
these people are morons.
There was a point where I blocked the message thing, but then a few people that reach out for opportunities and stuff, so I had to open the messaging thing. If I know that there's a random account, I don't even look. I just ignore. There's an entire list of unread.
It's not even worth giving the time of day. Yeah. Like if someone is that like pathetic to send a message like that, like I just don't see the point. It's like that person's life is just, you know, I kind of half feel sorry for them, because I'm like, if you're getting this worked up, I can only imagine your life is awful. Like, you know, so kind of send a like thoughts and prayers with you, pal. Have a nice day. You know, so.
I mean, the funniest thing was, so yesterday I posted this, right, that Charles Leclerc is now ready for the championship. He's ready to fight for the championship.
Amazing race today.
Yeah, today as well. He was flying, apparently, and that car is dog shit.
The car's great. I mean, if Hamilton had qualified better, he could have won the race. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I posted this, right, and the replies were divided in 3 parts. The first part, there's basically 3 subgroups you can break it into. First is, what the fuck do you mean he's now ready to win the championship? He has always been ready to win the championship. That's one. That's the Leclerc fans being pissed off.
To be fair, he has been ready for a while, but your point was just like,
exactly,
this is just more evidence that he's ready.
Yeah. And then you had Verstappen fans, no, he makes errors. And then you had the Lewis Hamilton fans, no, the car is built for him. And that's the entire, it's basically fans being pissed off. And there were also the Leclerc fans, which were complimentary of it, that, we can see now and stuff.
To those Hamilton fans, I'd ask then, why were Mercedes building the car for George? That doesn't make any sense.
But don't even get into that. There's no point. Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about the Red Bull future, because I was actually getting to the GP crying thing only. What do you think in the short term, the future? Where do you think the Red Bull's going?
I think that they've actually, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if in 2026 they have a decent car. I'm not expecting them to fight the title, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have a decent car.
The power unit. The problem is the power unit.
Wouldn't be. We say that, but I don't know. Like, they've taken a lot of people from the right places. So the problem they're going to have is the guy that they had in charge of kind of setting that up was ran off because they were losing some races. So good job. So I don't think that it could go one way or the other, but like they've gotten Ford in to really help and stuff more so than before, and all of these different things. So the car might not be that bad in the short term. Like they could get very lucky that, you know, between Newey, Vache, and the engine setup that Horner put in place, they could actually start off with a decent season next year. But as I said earlier, I think that very much is going to be prolonging the inevitable. And I think they're going to be very short-term focused because they're going to have one goal in mind next year, which is if the car is in any way decent, they're going to pour just everything into trying to keep Max, basically. You know, that's going to be their main focus.
They did this time around as well.
Yeah, and the problem with doing that is I think if you get into that like tunnel vision short-term focus, a lot of other shit is going to fall apart. And I think that one of two things will happen. You'll either keep Max, but you'll just, again, prolonging the inevitable and not fixing some core issues. Or you're going to lose Max as well. And after having put all of that energy into just keeping Max, you lose Max. And I think it'll very quickly fall apart. Yeah. So it'll either be a complete shit show by 2027, or we'll see the startings of the shit show by 2027. It depends really on where the car is. Like, and I don't know, because Vache and Red Bull are a good team. And like, as we've talked
this
about in
season,
the past,
season, just look at this season, right?
But you've seen in the past where when you build a team as strongly as like Horner and Newey did, say, between them all, it's not going to be an overnight it just collapses when you take the leader away. So like obviously we've seen that exact thing happen with Ferrari back in the 2000s. Like, you know, Schumacher left, Braun left, Rory Byrne I believe at some point left, but like Jean Todt left.
But no.
He's still there, is he?
There. He's still
I was going to say, I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, when did he leave? And I was like, oh, he didn't. Okay. But yeah, Jean Todt left. But like, it wasn't like as soon as those top guys left, the car and the whole team fell apart because they still won championships after that. They still, even like 2012, they were still fighting for championships. And, you know, like, it's not like that's just falling apart, but it's like piece by piece. What happens is if you don't have that strong leadership at the top, things slowly start to break down, and it takes a long time to build that back up. Look, McLaren, another perfect example. Like Ron Dennis left, and it's not like it kind of did immediately, but they were already in the shit.
He broke it apart.
Yeah, they were already in the shit.
Came back to kill everything.
Yeah, but it's like it's long tail as well when you're building it up. Like Zach Brown came in and like look how long it took to build up. It's the same when it falls apart. It doesn't just immediately fall apart.
Yeah,
you know, it can take time because you could have a very strong team built up. And Red Bull with Horner and Newey have spent years building this incredible team, and even with those two guys gone, those incredible people are still there. The problem I just see is that the leadership when you start, and when you're run by a board instead of like a guy. I know Mekies is there, but Mekies is there at the behest of the board, right? And when you're run by a board thinks short term, and we see this in Ferrari and Alpine. So what happens is, as soon as anything goes wrong, instead of it being a Horner situation where he's like, we put all this, I can't do a Horner impression, but he's like, we put all this in and we're still building and it's on me. I need to keep building this out. Basically taking the blame and just kind of calming things down. Yeah. What happens instead with a board is you go, right, who can we blame? We need to blame someone. So they start firing people. Like, Vache needs to go now because the car is wrong, which is the wrong decision. You keep Vache there. The car is wrong, but Vache's built winning cars in the past. Let him fix the fuck up. Like, you don't fire Newey in 2014. You know what I mean? Like, so, but a board run team will. They'll go, oh, well, if we're not firing Mekies, then someone needs to go because we fucked up. So get Vache out, put Eggington in. Fuck, we're screwed. You know, like, it's just... That's where it'll be interesting. So if they have a good car for the start of next year, I know what I'll see online. Well, Mekies is doing a great job. It's like, give it time. Like, you know, it's when things go wrong that you see the real test.
It's the same thing. I keep harping on Alpine because I remember I was probably the only one who was shouting off the rooftops that this is fucking stupid the way they're doing, and no one said that, no one recognized it. Everyone had the idea of, okay, this is what happens. Well, if you're not performing, you're out. No, it doesn't happen that way. Formula One doesn't work that way. And what I'm seeing right now is a scenario where Marco has not committed to 2026 for some reason. And I think one of the reasons probably is that Max forced him to apologize to Kimi
Maybe.
after the Qatar thing. And his quote is that I should be comfortable. I should feel comfortable in the team. So that's what he says. Whatever that
Basically, I
means,
should be
we
allowed to
don't
say
really know.
whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So once that is happening, Max's when we talk about the Red Bull Dream Team, these were the people, right? There was Newey, there was Horner, there was Marco, and then you had the second tranche of Vache, Wheatley, and others. Wheatley is gone, Horner is gone. Marco is not sure how long he's going to continue.
I think he was on his way out anyway at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been thinking about it for the last decade, but he's still there. So he's basically the second Bernie. And it's the same cycle. Max and GP are attached to the hip. If Max leaves, GP goes.
There's an even bigger problem too, which is that as soon as we know where Horner's going to go, that's going to be a big problem for Red Bull, because wherever Horner goes, there's a lot of like Horner loyalists in Milton Keynes. That if Horner, for example, ends up buying Alpine and has this exciting new thing ahead, those people are going to look at it as, okay, Red Bull is at the top and it's starting to go down, and Alpine is another situation where I can go over with Horner and he can bring us up again. So you're going to want to go on one momentum, not the other.
Yeah.
And I could see that as that's more internal pressure
going to happen. Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if as well, like Horner goes over there, and if Vache starts getting blamed for, even if they don't fire him, Vache starts getting slack for, oh, look, the car's not where it should be. Horner makes a phone call, hey, Vache, I backed you to the hilt the last time. I gave you credit when everyone else was crediting Newey. Come help me, let's build this. And everyone's going to start at the moment. It's not even just Horner. The moment there's any sort of kind of tension at Red Bull, you're going to have Mercedes, Ferrari, Aston, everyone
They're going
going
to pick him up.
Who's
and
the best
Vache
guys?
has been in talks with almost all of them.
They'll start picking those guys out. And then as soon as Verstappen leaves, I just see it as boom. That's where the floor comes out, because what they've done now is they've gotten rid of the top guy and put all the pressure on, we want to keep Verstappen. So what happens when Verstappen goes? It's...
I mean, if Verstappen was
even
not driving this
Yuki
year's
out,
Red Bull,
I think is a bad decision. But anyway.
He would be going. Max is going to Mercedes in 2027. I think that's more or less a done deal.
Unless they're winning the title next year, or unless he's P2 in the title next year, which I just don't think
unless he's
going
competitive, basically. Unless the power unit is good enough, he's not going to stick around.
He can leave if he's third in the championship next year.
Yeah.
And I think he will. So.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from the Red Bull Mercedes McLaren thing. One thing about McLaren, by the way, congratulations to them. The first drivers' championship since 2008, Lewis Hamilton. That's how long it's been. And
by more points. So Lando Norris is officially better than Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, twice as many.
And also, he beat Max Verstappen, not Felipe Massa. So, I mean,
in a slower
car. He beat
car.
Max Verstappen in a Red Bull in a slower car. And I mean, I'm sure I'll get Hamilton fans being like, yeah, but he also crashed into the back of his teammate. Well, Hamilton did the same thing to Colapinto this year. So let's
wait, 2008.
Yeah.
Hamilton crashed in the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we talking about?
Completely different.
Yeah.
Difficult conditions and so on,
Yeah. Just
XYZ.
Too much sunlight. That's the problem. Yeah. It can happen. Yeah.
Should we talk about the Hamilton?
Yeah, let's get to that. Yeah, go for it.
So I've heard multiple things from
Okay, by the way, guys, this is entirely from Jason and I have zero input in it.
Yeah. I've heard from 3 people about Ferrari having a little bit of a heated debate in the paddock. 3 different people. For anyone who's trying to figure out who it is, fuck you guys. 3 different people.
One of them.
No, you're not one of them. But yeah, 3 different people that essentially after qualifying There was a bit of a heated debate in the paddock between some of Ferrari and also some of Lewis Hamilton's management. I'm not sure whether it was Lewis Hamilton directly. I don't believe it was. I could be wrong. But anyway, his management, at the very least, is what I've heard. And then I heard the funniest thing, which was there was a couple of unscheduled contacts between Ferrari and Haas after that in the evening.
They one of those one on.
Yeah, probably. That I figured that. But yeah, one of them was apparently there was an unscheduled drop-in to the Haas garages between someone higher up in Ferrari and someone higher up in Haas. And then there was a phone call made between someone in Italy from Ferrari to someone in Haas higher up as well. Now, make of that what you will, but I'm just saying if they were replacing Hamilton, it would be Behrman. So that would make sense as to why those two things. Now, those two things could be completely unrelated because there's a variety of reasons why Haas and Ferrari could randomly touch base. It's just the timing is interesting. So, you've got this little bit of a debate behind the scenes in Ferrari, and then you've got this random call between Ferrari and Haas basically at the same time. Yeah. That's a bit odd. And it was just that someone at Haas, again, not going to name names, said to me, yeah, it was unscheduled. And I was like, is there normally these calls? Like, could it be to do with the engine and stuff? And he was like, could be. Unlikely. Could be.
Yeah.
And that was as far as I got. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, for Hamilton fans watching, the two of you who still remain after our bashing of them this season, I will say, like, look, it's not out of this world for Ferrari to be thinking that. They're paying him an awful lot of money, and he has not only now become the driver with the most Ferrari races without a podium, he's also the first Ferrari driver in history to have 3 Q1 exits in a row. It's not a great look when you're paying him that much. And if you are a Hamilton fan, can I just put it this way? If we just replaced the name and we said that this was Sainz's season, can you honestly say you wouldn't be thinking to yourself, well, Sainz needs to leave. Like, why aren't we putting Behrman in? Like, look at this awful season Sainz has just had. We can get Behrman for 1/10 of the cost of Sainz, let alone a Hamilton. So,
wow.
You know what I mean?
To what, 4 million, right?
At most, yeah. Like, I mean, you could probably give him the drive for free. It's Behrman. Like, he's going to want to get into a Ferrari for some unbeknownst reason. But yeah, like... I can see why they would be thinking about it. The problem they're going to have is, from the digging I've done in the past, I don't think there's like a breakout clause for next season. So they would have to pay him full freight to remove him, I think. Now, maybe there's a way around that, but I think they'd have to pay him at least 60 or 75 million to remove him. So they may weigh that up. But, I mean, given they could get Behrman so cheap, maybe they think to themselves, well, look, it's a trade-off. Let's just do it. Because Hamilton is bringing nothing to the table right now. And they need to plan for 2027. So even if they don't... My last word, sorry, I'll jump out then. Even if they don't remove him in the winter, I wouldn't rule out that if Hamilton has 3 difficult races at the start of next season, that they go, let's start 2027 planning. Get him out. Get Behrman in. Like, I wouldn't rule that out either. But yeah, thoughts?
Yeah. So, again, Ferrari has a habit of being very impulsive when it comes to making their calls. And again, this is just one of them. According to you, right? So, what I got to know is something on the lines, somewhat similar. There was some conversations. There were heated conversations after Qatar. A lot of comments from Lewis about the car and stuff, and then that wasn't too serious, so I didn't really talk about it much. It was a bit more serious this time around. The thing is, after winters, they're going to cool off. They're not going to take any calls at this very point. I mean, that's all I could gather. It seems what's going to happen is they have a replacement in place already in Behrman. They're going to see the first half of the season, and they're also going to see where the car is. Because if the car is not up to the mark, the person that is at the highest risk is Fred Vasseur. It's not Lewis.
Yeah.
So Lewis is still second in line when it comes to the whole chopping block. It's first going to be how good or bad is the car. If the car is not up to the mark, then Fred is gone. And if red is gone, you can just see the dominoes fall anyways.
Yeah.
That's what I could gather. I think it was more of John Elkann just being his impulsive best.
Ironically as well, it wouldn't surprise me either if John Elkann called up Haas to say, listen, we need Behrman in because we need to replace Leclerc, because I cannot admit that it was my fault. So we're going to replace Leclerc with Behrman for next season. Genuine, with the way Ferrari operates, that would not even... I wouldn't even be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised in 27 that Behrman is at Ferrari.
I think Behrman
anyways.
will be there, and he will be there.
Who he replaces is a question
contract
mark.
And both of their contracts replace next season, and it'll be one of two things: either Hamilton underperforms and the 2026 car is good and Leclerc stays and it's Leclerc and Behrman, or it could be a completely new lineup in 2027, or Hamilton does well and Leclerc leaves, and who knows?
Right. So let's see. Again, it was just an interesting speculation. It's nothing.
Yeah. It was just an interesting thing I heard it from a few people and then heard the Haas thing, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. It could be nothing, but because I'm just a YouTuber and I don't need to be
anything. Yeah, it's not going. It's not really.
But I made a video. I made a video on it because I'm a YouTuber, not a journalist. So fuck everybody.
Again, I'm just talking about paddock chatter. It's not really going to. It's not amounting to much anyways. I mean, again, there have been chat for a while now, and since the whole talkless comments from John Elkann, things have been a bit heated. Lewis getting eliminated in Q1, it kind of raised the temperature even more. But the season's done. Once the season is done, they tend to cool off, and they'll plan for next season the way.
To be fair to Lewis as well, which is the same reason I think that replacing Yuki was a bit too much straight away. I think they should have kept him for a season. Like, you've made your bed. Is that it's also not like he was miles off Leclerc either. It's just that, like, I think between 1st and 15th at the end of Q2 there was 3/10. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate for a couple of these drivers where, like, out in Q1 could also mean like 2/10 of a difference. Like, it genuinely is unfortunate for the likes of Hamilton and Yuki that it looks way worse than it is. The team should know
Hamilton
this,
is not driving Hamilton is not driving an older spec, right? Yuki is,
and also Hamilton is Hamilton. Like, again, if this was
Yuki
Carlos Sainz,
5 times the amount Max is.
My point was, if this was Carlos Sainz, you'd still have people calling and saying, "Why are we keeping him? Like, he's not performing." So then when you put it onto it's Hamilton
earlier as well, right? That when it comes to Lewis, my concern is not necessarily the gap. It's 2/10, fine. My concern is, when is he going to beat Leclerc?
Yeah, this is Lewis Hamilton. Like, you're paying him a fortune, and it's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
like
one race in 24, and that race being the one where Leclerc had an off day out of 24. It's unacceptable, and it's not really. I mean, we keep talking about this. Okay, the gap is this much. The gap is this much. It doesn't make a difference. He should be. When we keep talking about, okay, there's a couple of tenths gap. Fine. When is he going to beat him? Mm-hmm. Is he brought on as a second driver? It's not, right. He's brought on to be
this is the main problem.
Driver.
Because, like, if this was, like I said, if this was Carlos Sainz, we'd be saying it's not good enough.
Exactly.
This isn't Carlos Sainz. This is Lewis Hamilton being paid a fortune.
Yeah.
If this was the only way this would be acceptable is if this was Behrman in his rookie season. And you'd be saying, okay, for whatever, it's his rookie season.
Just like it's Kimi Antonelli, right?
Yeah. It's Leclerc. It's That is the only case in which this is acceptable. And it's not. It's a 7-time world champion.
Exactly. And I was having a chat with Baxter about the same thing, because even he agrees that moving to Ferrari was foolish, because again,
no one saw that coming though.
Yeah.
For Spotify listeners, by the way, that was sarcasm. I just like to point that out. Yeah.
It's for me, the biggest dumb thing is that I think Lewis needs to have at least a little bit of self-awareness, and he needs to stop putting himself in positions where he's battling a Leclerc or a Russell in the same car. He's not at his sharpest that he was in the prime of his racing career. He's in a position where he's a couple of tenths off. So what he ideally needs to do is do something similar to what Alonso has done. He's positioned himself in an emerging car. He knows 2 to 3 years are going to be dog years. But at the end of it, there's light. He'll probably get 1 year of a brilliant car, and that he can use to win a championship. That's what Lewis needs to do. Whether it is with Cadillac or Audi or whichever team, that's how, if he's serious about winning an 8th championship, that is how he needs to go about it.
Yeah, he's not
because
with Ferrari.
Yeah, because other than that, he's not beating Leclerc in the same car. Plain and simple, it's not happening. I'm just happy that
this gives a lot of credibility to the fact that when we had this conversation about whether Lewis would have won more titles in the Ferrari, and my exact response was, it depends how many seasons has he been with Ferrari, because Ferrari can utterly break down a driver. I hope Lewis Hamilton fans now appreciate what I was getting at there, because anyway,
complete disaster. Let's talk about the midfield drivers and we'll jump on to the questions. Fernando Alonso.
Do we have to talk about the midfield drivers?
Yep. Fernando Alonso, a star. For me,
Fernando Alonso
star.
at Ferrari would have won the championship this year. I think we can all say that now.
Yeah, just like he did in...
Fernando Alonso at Red Bull would have won the championship this year.
He might have, yeah. He would not have done what... He would have
backed up the drivers.
Yeah. Exactly. And he would not have crashed into Russell at Barcelona. Other than that, I don't know. But again, and this is something,
please,
these are the details.
Give him a good car next year. Please.
Yeah. He was asked about this on DAZN. So DAZN is a Spanish broadcaster. So he was asked, okay, if in this car, if you are able to finish P6, he finished 6th in the race, by the way. Mm-hmm. How would you do in a better car? And he said, I'll probably win. And he said it as a matter of fact. It was like so
I love that he still has that complete and utter belief in himself. Like,
and
it's incredible.
3 years older than Lewis and continues to hustle, right? And one thing, and I even posted about it because I don't think anyone noticed it. Everyone was so focused on that front top 3-4 drivers. Alonso had around 15 or 16 lap delta when it comes to tires to Stroll. But he was, I think in mid-race, he was lapping slower than Lance. The reason he was lapping slower than Lance was, and they had a 4-second gap between the two. The reason was very simple. He wanted Lance to build as much of a buffer as he can over the chasing pack, so that once Lance pits for medium tires, he can completely climb through the field. And Lance almost did. He almost finished P10, but then he had a penalty and he was fucked off from the points, which should always happen.
So did that? Did they needed Lance to finish in the points to?
I think they finished right? I think they still finished behind.
They finished P7. Yeah,
because
they were
Lance
only 3 points away from Racing Bulls. Yeah, so
because Lance was kicked off and promoted.
Because Lance is shit. Like, let's just call a spade here.
Yeah, I mean Which,
frankly, I mean, to be honest with you, calling Lance a spade is
abuse to spade.
It's abuse to garden tools, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And I just realised spade is a derogatory term, and I didn't mean it in that way for anyone who's about to fucking call me out on that. So my apologies.
Spade is a derogatory term
towards people in the Latino community, but I was specifically talking about garden tools.
We only have Aussies, Brits, Indians, and Americans.
I was halfway through saying it, and then I realised I think. I could be wrong there, but I think it used to be, at the very least, a derogatory term towards Latinos.
Spade is usually a shovel as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Moving on, let's talk
That's what we meant before anyone calls us out.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the
I'm a Mexican resident, by the way. I'm married to a Mexican, so anyone who calls me out on that, get fucked. Go on anyway. Sorry. What were you saying? Yeah.
Let's jump to the questions.
Yes. Let's go.
How many?
Let me pull up there. Of course we do. There's always loads of them. Can you people calm down and stop watching?
We're kidding, by
Red
the way.
Robin.
Don't stop watching.
I'm not kidding.
Bring your family on board. We need them. We need to hit 1K now. It's been a while.
It's been
just at 520 something.
Yeah.
Fantastic Frog.
We get lots of views, but just not enough people subscribing.
Yeah.
It's probably all the banter we do. Fantastic Frog, yeah. Oscar doing an around the outside drive-by with cold hards on Lando. Best overtake of the season. I probably wouldn't say best overtake of the season, but it was fucking up there. Best overtake of the season was obviously Lando pulling a max on Antonelli.
That one. Best overtake of the season. Which one is your best overtake of the season?
There's been so many. I can't remember any of them now off the top of my head. Oscar's done some fucking great overtakes this season, to be fair.
Oscar on Lewis at Jeddah.
Antonelli's attempted overtake on Max at Austria, I think, is probably the best one. Lando's overtake on Antonelli at Qatar. Probably the best one. Sorry, I'm just being a prick. I'm not sure.
Leclerc on George in Zandvoort.
Yeah, amazing.
That was something. Yeah. And Max on Oscar the first lap in Imola.
Yes, yeah.
The one that had jumped into the lead.
Oscar on Max at Jeddah. Amazing.
Oscar on Max in Miami.
You know, if Max had known the rules in Jeddah, he probably would have been champion right now. Anyway, moving on. Luke Wilson.
I don't know how you... Okay, no, wait, you missed one. I don't know how you found me. That's the name of the handle. Okay, how do you see both Lando and Oscar approaching 2026? Do you think Oscar will come back stronger, or is any hope of him becoming champion over? Jay?
I think we already kind of discussed it, but I think he'll come back stronger. I think the problem is just that it depends on how strong Lando comes back, because I just think we're going to see a different Lando now. Like this Lando we've seen in the last half of the season, imagine that, but with absolutely no care in the world about pressure anymore. Like he's achieved what he needed to achieve now. Like that's going to be so I think Oscar will come back stronger. The question is, does Lando come back stronger? Like, because we know how good Lando can be. Now imagine that Lando every single week. You know,
and we don't even know how the cars would suit each other's driving style.
That's the other thing.
It's such a big variable.
Yeah.
Do you think Lando will still perform at the level he has in Zandvoort, or do you think he might take things a bit easier since he's won a championship? No, he won't take things a bit easier.
I don't think he'll take things a bit easier because, as I was just saying, like I think Lando at his best is when he's just driving for the fucking fun of it. Like, you know, because Lando's got that. Lando is one of those drivers who just has that pure racing talent. And the problem is when he has pressure on him, he crumbles. Like, so if you look at Lando before 2024, like when he was just fighting for podiums and stuff, like he was putting that McLaren constantly in places where it didn't deserve to be.
Yeah.
So you're going to get that Lando now. So it just depends on where the car is. The question is how good can Oscar get, you know?
I think there's still one area where Lando has to prove himself in terms of how good he is compared to Max. That is still a debate, right? Because again, this season, Max has himself created this narrative that I would have won the championship a few races earlier. And while Lando would deny it in the media, deep down he knows that Max isn't wrong in any which way.
Yeah,
with the comments that he's made.
It'd be fun if those two get toe to toe, but I fear Max may not have the.
That is still a year away.
May not have the car until 2027 at least.
Yeah.
That depends if Mercedes can build a decent car as well. We still don't know that. Because
next season, right?
But anyway.
Also, what are your thoughts on Charles' comments about the first 6 or 7 races next year being important? And him saying that it's now or never.
Good, finally. Fucking hell, Charles.
Fucking finally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about fucking time.
Yeah. It's basically... This should have been the case in 2023 when he signed that long-term contract.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, moving on. Luke Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Would Horner have won Max the title at this race? Well, Horner would have won him the race in Brazil, in my opinion, if Horner was there. I think they would have won that Brazilian race. And I think that would have made this race much more important. So I also think, as you said earlier, I agree that Horner would have been fucking on the radio to the FIA being like, hey, whoa. Like, or his guys would have been on the radio to the FIA being like, I don't care whether there was mitigating circumstances. You know, this is, I'm trying to I'll get the impression right at some point in the next 6 years. But, you know, he would have essentially been saying he overtook off track. Doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. They both deserve a penalty. Give Yuki a disqualification if you want, as long as Lando gets a penalty. You know? if you want, I'll fucking box Yuki right now and we'll ship him back to Japan. Just give Lando a penalty. You know, like that's the kind of thing he would have been doing.
Right? That if Horner was there, the mentality would have been different. And the entire, I mean, we've talked about it, right? That the intensity was not there when it came to the championship. Just before, just at the end of FP3, there was this mini segment from Sky, which was first a comment from Zach and a comment from Lauren Mekies. And the kind of cordial way they went about it, it was like, yeah, come on, you're fighting for the championship. At least show a bit of aggression. Yeah.
To quote The Simpsons, like I think, you know, would have been looking at Mekia as like, fuck off, hippie, cut your hair and come back with some serious work. I don't know. It's just, I don't know whether they would have won the title, but I feel like they would have pushed for it a lot more.
Winning the title is a different thing, but it would have been...
The problem is, if Horner wasn't still there, would you still have the bullshit going on behind the scenes as well?
That's also a problem,
you know,
right?
Because... As I kept saying, like, Horner would have just kept focused on winning the title, but it seems like, you know, the Verstappen crew and Helmut Marko and everything were and the board were pretty intent on like, no, this is over, you know. And it was only when Horner got out of the way that they were like, oh, cool, yeah, let's take a look at the car and stuff now. It's like, I don't know. I think they would have not wanted Horner to win behind the scenes as well, you know, that way, which is kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways.
How would that have affected it? Yeah, we'll see.
Yes. Sushi CR7. Can we stop blaming the WDC loss on the Spain incident? We can't take events in isolation and correlate causality.
We can't take events in isolation and correlate causality. Assuming that he would have just added 9 points... blah blah blah, bunch of other things. Red Bull upgrades working.
It's a butterfly effect. Bunch of other factors decided the WDC as a whole over 24 races. Red Bull upgrades working. Kimi taking out. Kimi mistake. Pathetic VSC in Mexico. What happened in Mexico? I don't even remember.
Oh, the Sainz VSC at the end. Remember that stopped Max from being able to hold down a position.
Yeah.
Monza swap.
Piastri drop off since Baku. Wrong strategy in Brazil plus puncture. Vegas DSQs.
The thing is,
I think we talked about it as well, right? Why these aren't the reason and why.
As we said, it's like that's the one controllable that Max himself could have very much changed.
Yeah.
So the rest of the stuff is like it's nothing to do with Max, and the reason it gets focused on is that's a controllable that Max himself basically took his own 9 points away. As I said earlier, like, you know, we discussed this at length earlier anyway, so I don't know if there's we kind of went through all of
this. Just to reiterate in case Sushi just jumps to the questions. In short, what this was...
Go back and watch the podcast, Sushi. There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Go back and watch the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Do you think Ferrari will be... I'm sorry, I'm not going to say your name. You have to tell me how I pronounce your name.
Which one do you think? Let's see.
If you bother, it is Trahng. So he has written it.
Why can't I see this?
It's the latest question.
Oh, maybe I need to reload
7 minutes ago.
While
we were recording the podcast.
Trang Nguyen. There you go. Yeah.
Trang, apparently. So Trang, we'll call it
it's Trang Nguyen, I think. I think the G is silent. So it's Trang Nguyen.
Okay. Where are you from, by the way? It's
I'm Irish.
Yeah, okay. Do you think Ferrari will be strong next season on par with the 2024 run? I'm joining them next season, so I'm joining them. He's joining Ferrari next season. So I'm curious about expectations. Yes, I realize.
I'm guessing he means as a fan, right? And he just said, if you want to bother, it's Trang. Trang. I'm just going to say Trang. Yeah.
Trang. Okay.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
That's so funny.
There are no holidays, by the way. We'll be recording quite a few this week that are actually already in motion.
Yeah, do you think Ferrari will be strong next season?
No. Sorry, no.
Sorry. Don't. Can I just, as a Vettel fan, and you as a Schumacher fan before and a Vettel fan, can I just say, just don't be a Ferrari fan.
Be anything.
Unless in your spare time you go to BDSM clubs, this is just not for you. Like, it's just, you have to...
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. Like, you're better off being an Alpine fan. Like, that's how bad it is.
You can take up smoking, alcohol, anything. They are still less injurious to your health than this.
Yeah. I mean, you could gamble the family savings and still be less mentally affected than being a Ferrari fan.
And I keep saying, right, that there are a couple of grey hairs that I've had here for a while now, and they are just because I was supporting.
I don't have them here anymore, but anyway. We're
not going there.
Yeah.
Ahmed Fabli next. So Ahmed Fabli has, what on earth was that Tsunoda defense? If Perez in that situation, how many laps do you think he can defend? Probably a couple of laps, but he would have cost Lando a lot more time.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was the... I don't know why Yuki didn't do the Checo trick where he completely slowed down in the third sector, the twisty bits. I don't know. Maybe Lando had a side deal or paid him something.
Maybe they shouldn't have fired him the weekend before. Like, I mean, that's... Horner definitely wasn't going to do that, you know? If they made the decision, it would have been like, well, we're going to fire Yuki.
Why would
he would have been like, don't fucking tell him until after the finale. Like, we'll need him to fucking tell him we're going to sign his contract after Abu Dhabi. Tell him if he defends correctly, you'll get your contract. Lie to the fucking guy, you know? Like, what are you doing?
Seriously, that was foolish, by the way.
Red Bull is just idiotic now. I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's just...
Seriously. Interlagos needs to be the final race again. I agree. Although I would love if they start the race at the same hour as Abu Dhabi. Yeah, that's also true. That would be a spectacle to watch. Max fans are going to start behaving like Team LH, aren't they?
Start.
They already are.
The word start doesn't need to be there. Yeah.
It's very funny because Max literally told Lando last year that his time will come. History repeats itself in some ways, I guess. True.
Yep. 100%. End of a regulation set. New champion, which means now Lando's going to be the dominant force in F1 until 2029.
Zach Brown had said this, right? Welcome to the Lando Norris era.
Yeah.
Welcome.
That would be really funny because just so many people would be so annoyed. But yeah.
Now the biggest question for both of you: who performs better, Alonso 2012 or this year Max? Jason, go ahead.
It's Alonso. It's always Alonso.
Yeah.
Alonso beat Schumacher, okay? All
no, he's talking about Alonso 2012.
Max, yeah. Okay, Alonso 2012. Yeah. Fine. But my point is, look, when it comes to Alonso versus Max, Alonso beat Schumacher, okay? Verstappen not only beat Hamilton, he also lost the title to Lando Norris. So I'm sorry, but Verstappen was P3 in my list. He's now P8. Okay, you can't lose to Lando Norris. That's that. It's over. He lost to Lando Norris in a faster car. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay, so it's over. It's done.
I agree that Alonso 2012 would be better because Alonso would be ruthless. As simple as that.
He definitely would have backed him up. Look, honestly, jokes aside, Max had an incredible season, but as we said earlier, it is very strange that he didn't go to just every length to win the title at the end. I'm not sure.
Max's 2025 season is... I find it hard to put Max 2025 in the same bracket as 24, 23, 22, 21. I find it hard to do that.
I think it was an incredible season up until the last race. It's very strange, the last race. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then 5, oh, by the way, when we guys do a season review, we're recording it on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So later this week, you'll have one.
Yep, it should be out. Also, thanks for all the banter and offending people for all this year. Love the podcast. Cheers, man.
Yeah. If you're not offended, don't subscribe.
I'm glad the season is over and this milking of every little thing and shoving of celebrities and girlfriends into our faces stops. No,
hey, some of those girlfriends are hot.
The wording is slightly... I have a dirty mind and it's probably because it's late at night. So
the good news is this time next year, I'm sure there'll be even more of those people on OnlyFans. So that's good. Anyway.
Norris winning the championship just left me empty and I turned off the TV immediately. Oh.
Flaky.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for this great podcast. Thanks for watching, man.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's a man. If it's women, thanks for watching.
Can I just point out, I think I'm going to just cut part of this and use it as the headline on our banner, which is I'm going to cut out the Norris winning the championship bit and just put a review like on our new banner. I think I genuinely might change this to Flaky just comment, just left me empty and I turned off the TV immediately, and make it look like it's a review of the podcast. How was this podcast? It left me empty and I turned off the TV immediately. Best review ever. Oh, that's like that review of Amazon. There was an Amazon product review that was the best thing ever, which was bought this for father who had cancer. Father died. Item never arrived. 1 star.
Started watching early this year, and it's a good replacement for the DRS Train podcast. That's sadly unwatchable with Karen's minutes. You're going to love the review in that case.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
By the way, DRS Train has one good podcast with Mark Slade. They did a interview with him recently. Mark Slade is the person who was race engineer for Kimi Raikkonen,
Alpine,
Mika Häkkinen, Fernando Alonso,
McLaren. Right, yeah,
Michael Schumacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So check that one out. It's actually quite good.
Yeah, you just skip ahead to hour 14. It gets really good. So anyway.
Looking forward to seeing Mr. 33 suffer in truly the 7th fastest car and Alonso slapping the meat on the table.
Flaky, who do you support?
He supports us. That's the
No, but genuinely, I'm so confused here. So Norris winning left him empty, and then he's looking forward to seeing Verstappen suffer. So Hamilton or Piastri?
He's a Piastri
I'm
fan.
guessing.
Yeah, he's from Australia.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, if you're Australia, great form in Ashes, by the way. Smacking England around is always fun.
I still remember when I was living in London, that taxi driver, he was an Indian guy with like Indian family, lived in London for a long time, and he's like, "Oh mate," he's like, "You're Irish? Oh, you must have fucking loved the cricket this morning. The Irish team beat India."
Yeah, 2010
and I was like,
11, yeah.
I was like, "We have a cricket team?" It was 2011, I think.
Yeah,
2011. I was living in London. Yeah.
I mean, that was a big deal. Irish beating England is a big deal.
I didn't know we had a cricket team. It was genuine.
You weren't the only one, right?
Yeah, no.
They were. Cricket is not big in Ireland. I don't think there aren't many. We
apparently we're very good at it, but just had no idea.
Yeah,
we're used to be. Maybe I don't know if we're out anymore. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Can't wait for next season with you two and all the Ferrari and Hamilton bashing. You can count on that.
If only Hamilton qualified better.
Yep. Okay,
maybe that should be our banner. Yeah. Just if only Hamilton qualified.
Jolyon Palmer talked about it this week during the race. He literally said that.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he said that.
Oh, if I can just find the audio clip, that could be our new intro.
Hey, anyway, I think I might be able to, because as soon as he said that, I pinged you on X. So I think the timestamp and all, we might be able to.
So if I can get that audio clip, just do a radio thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Hamilton.
Red Robin 1122. I want to thank both of you for being the best when it comes to F1 commentary on YouTube. Cheers.
Oh,
we love that.
Thanks for lying.
A few more subscribers. I think Max has learned a lot over this season, so hopefully no more Spain 2025. I agree.
Don't mention the war. Yeah.
I'm interested. It's not the Falklands, right? I'm interested to see if Lando and Oscar become a more complete package as drivers for 2026.
I think they both will. Yeah. 100%.
I think McLaren as well. I think McLaren is going through the same phase that Red Bull went through from 2010-11 or so. It's still new when it comes to running at the front. And there are still,
because this isn't the same. We've said this a few times over the years, like the last year or so. This isn't the same McLaren that won championships. This is like a whole new team.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. Thoughts on George, champion for 2026?
If he has the right car, 100%. I think.
Yeah.
It's all the car. Like George, I think is genuinely one of the few other drivers on the grid who is a complete enough package to win a championship. I think him and Leclerc are two drivers who haven't got a championship now that are the two kind of next most complete drivers to win.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's George, Leclerc, and I think Oscar is getting there. I think there's just some, Oscar could well be there at the start of next season. Like, I think he's learned enough now that maybe we could see those three drivers be like the next in line to win. And then the question will be, I guess, like Vettel and Ricciardo and a few other drivers we've seen over the years, do they get there before the rookies climb in? Because we've got some very good
one
rookies
next to
now.
them already.
Yeah. So
let's see.
It'd be interesting. Yeah.
Dane Lua, for casual fan. Okay, for me. How do you think
there's two of them,
Yeah. So how do you think McLaren operation-wise will do in 2026? Because let's be real, had Max not done what he did in Spain, this continues to get mentioned. He would have won the championship. They just barely won with the skin of their teeth, and the gap would have been larger had the team not fucked up in so many occasions, with Las Vegas being a key example. True. Yep, 100%. Will they be better? They should be better.
They should be, yeah. The interesting thing that Spain showed us as well is that once again, when an Austrian decides to go to war with the British, they win the battle, but they lose the war. The question for Jason, I remember your list in your top 10 this is great because I didn't remember the list. So Michael Schumacher is the best, Ayrton Senna a close second, Max Verstappen third, Lewis Hamilton fourth. Did I put Lewis Hamilton fourth? Oh, I must have. That makes sense. Sebastian Vettel fifth, Alonso sixth. Given that 2025...
Wait. He said, yes, I still remember it. You don't.
Given that in 2025, Lewis Hamilton in reality was worse than our expectations, where do you have him ranked now above those I mentioned? Well, I mean, he's behind Vettel now. Honestly, genuinely, I'd say, because I don't really count stats for an enormous part. For me, it's like about the driver, and I think Vettel now better than Hamilton on my list. Sure, yeah.
I mean, even better in 2020, Vettel scored a podium.
Yeah, better than Alonso. Maybe. I think, look, honestly, my new list it's Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, Lando Norris. I think that's...
and then Max Verstappen.
Then Max Verstappen, yeah. I don't know. I'll have to do another list. Maybe we'll do that again next.
We'll do that,
maybe every season we do a top 10. Like, how do we feel now? Yeah. And we'll see how the rankings change. So yeah, but I think it's clearly it's Lando Norris, Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna. I think just to piss off Sai. Yeah. So predictions
for what
next season?
Yeah, we'll talk about a lot of things. Okay,
I think we're going to do next like a season prediction, right?
Quite a few.
Like we will do all of this. Just honestly though, given the season has just ended, right? Just a random like top 3 teams for next year prediction right now, just without thinking. What do you know?
So again, it depends entirely on what we've heard. We don't really know anything.
Yeah, that's my point, because this will change, I think, as we go in. But like just right
pretty
now,
much,
without
as soon as the first lap is done.
Yeah.
Mercedes, McLaren, Williams. That's the top 3.
Oh, Williams top 3 would be fucking incredible.
Yeah. You know what would be the funniest thing? Carlos Sainz wins the race before both Lewis and Leclerc do.
Oh my God. And you know what the scary thing is? It's totally fucking possible. Yeah. Because Ferrari are so bad. I genuinely think next season, the start of next season, prediction for the season, McLaren, Aston Martin, Mercedes.
Man, if that happens, I'll be happy. But I'm still
Alonso
holding on.
Win the title.
Yeah. I'm just holding on to my horses because I want to see the Aston Martin run first, and then I'll make the judgment. For now, I'm just let's wait. Let's see what's going to happen, because I don't want to raise my expectations because Ferrari broke any of them that I had this season. Remember, I predicted Charles Leclerc to win the championship this season and Lewis to win a few races. Oh God, I know nothing about Formula 1.
Should we end the podcast by just saying congratulations to Lando Norris for beating Max Verstappen in the second fastest car?
I think that's fair. That's fair. Also,
Subscribe.
by the way, yeah, wait. Also, by the way, to the viewers and everyone that's watching, first of all, thank you. You stuck around for the entire season. The reason why we started this, doing something like this, simply because you won't see unfiltered opinions on F1 in general.
Yeah.
That was a gripe that both of us had. Plus, hopefully, we added some value to your Formula One knowledge, whichever little bit, and we offended a lot of people.
And
hope you had fun. That's the whole thing.
We're in the top 10% of video podcasts on Spotify worldwide.
Spotify.
And we still don't have a fucking 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. But yeah, on
guys,
Spotify, we're
hit
top
subscribe
10%.
if you haven't already.
Yes. And maybe let's change the banner out for those couple of reviews that I absolutely love. Left me empty and I switched off the telly. Bye, everybody.
Yes, guys. Bye-bye.